Jiang Ran crossed a different world and became the lord of a town at the beginning. In this world, farming can actually produce demons. Demons are cute and adorable, capable of acting coquettishly and possessing great abilities. Jiang Ran relied on a pair of purple jade magic pupils to harvest wild demon insects one by one, while others were still struggling to cultivate one. When another city finally cultivated a demon spirit monster, Jiang Ran already had a young fairy. When other lords were proud to have a holy fairy and could finally raise their eyebrows, Jiang Ran pulled out a pile. Everyone. Isn't it good to be a person? And the outside world is filled with monsters and territories are strictly divided into levels. Jiang Ran adhered to the Buddhist philosophy of coming and coming, covering her hands with rain, and gradually promoted a small town-level territory to a county-level, capital level. And even a hegemonic territory. Main career development, female lead has CP, dominant, lazy, beautiful lords versus indifferent possessiveness max true fragrant emperor, keywords of the novel. As a lord, I am forced to farm without a pop-up window. As a lord, I am forced to farm. Download the complete TXT series. As a lord, I am forced to farm. Read the latest chapter. Chapter 1. Becoming a Lord. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Becoming a Lord. If we could use a simple sentence to describe the bizarre events that Jiang Ran has experienced these days, it would be: she's wearing it, her father's gone, she's become a lord. The sunlight leaked down, and the dim sky reflected the mottled raindrops on the wall. The old crow on the branches of the ancient tree screamed hoarsely, pulling down the white silk cloth. In his ears were the mournful cries and helpless sighs. It took several days to adapt to my identity, and finally accepted the fact that I had traveled through time. However, I didn't expect the original owner's family to instantly fall apart. Leaving only 2 underage siblings, 20,000 impoverished and destitute people, a dying spirit worm. And a pile of mess. Jiang Ran's face darkened slightly, and a sense of retreat suddenly arose in her heart. However, as she was still at a loss when she first arrived in this world, she vaguely agreed to her deceased father to take on everything in Suling town. And become a lord. Jiang Ran has few advantages except for her good looks, so she values her promises. So she can't run. And she ran away, which is even worse for her. This world is a land of fantasy, too dangerous, with powerful monsters crisscrossing various places. The power of humanity has not yet taken a dominant position in this world, and every piece of land that allows humans to live safely is particularly precious. Thus creating the supreme power of lords. There is still an existence in this world that Jiang Ran cannot understand. Demons. Demons are creatures that are born in plants and can in turn promote plant growth. The number and level of demons are one of the indicators of a territory's strength. And now Jiang Ran is actually a lord of a land with a population of about 20,000 and 2 small demons. Jiang Ran came from modern times, and half a month ago, she wore clothes on the eldest daughter of Jiang Fuchen, the lord of Suling town. Jiang Ran inherited the memory of the original owner but did not fully inherit it. The original owner's memory is not very complete, and can only be presented intermittently in his mind based on some scenes, people, and things. At present, Jiang Ran has only inherited 50.6% of her memory, and she estimates that this is already the limit of her ability to inherit. Tisk, strange thing. Jiang Ran pinched her tired brow, gradually restoring her slightly distressed face to a calm state. Young lord, no, lord, it's not good anymore. Miss Xiaowen has fainted. A panicked male voice rang out, and a middle-aged man wearing rough fabric rushed over. The man ran too fast and couldn't stop the car for a moment. His center of gravity was unstable and he fell awkwardly to Jiang Ran's feet. The middle-aged man is the butler of the Lord's mansion. Jiang's mansion, Li Fusheng. Li Fusheng is an honest person, and based on Jiang Ran's observations these days, he is still loyal to the Jiang family. Jiang Ran's thoughts were spinning at lightning speed. For 7 days, she has been walking on thin ice. Although the original owner had already died when she walked over, there was still some guilt. After all, they did not agree to let you use your body. In addition, she did not fully inherit all her memories, so she had to pretend to be idle and secretly collect information. At present, the Jiang family in Suling town are facing external worries and internal troubles, and people's hearts are fluctuating. But Jiang Ran has just taken office and there are not many people who can use it. As a butler, Li Fuxing needs Li Fuxing's help to handle the things in the Jiang family and soothe people's hearts. In just a blink of an eye, Jiang Ran quickly reacted. Bending down to support Li Fuxing, Jiang Ran said with concern, "Stewardly, be careful, don't panic, take your time." "What's wrong with Xiaowen?" Jiang Ran's gentle attitude surprised Stewardly for a moment. The former young lord was too arrogant and cold, almost showing no good face towards them. At this moment it was not time to pay attention to these small details. Li Fuxing quickly got up and pulled Jiang Ran away. "Miss Wen fainted and couldn't wake up. I went to see Dr. Wang, but he couldn't be seen. I had no choice but to come and find you quickly." "Can't find Dr. Wang." Jiang Ran frowned lightly. Although the territory of Suling town is not large and there are not many strong ones, at least it is within the jurisdiction of the Jiang family. But outside of Suling town, it's not very peaceful outside. Dr. Wang's strength is not strong, so it is impossible for him to leave Suling town at will. At this moment, Dr. Wang is not on standby at the Jiang mansion. Why is he mysteriously missing? "Don't worry, butler. Take me to see my little sister quickly." The Jiang family has 3 children, Jiang Ran, Jiang Nancheng, and Jiang Xiaowen. The mother of the 3 unfortunately had difficulty giving birth to Jiang Xiaowen, and their father Jiang Fuqing passed away 7 days ago, so the 3 siblings will depend on each other in the future. To be honest, Jiang Ran feels a bit complicated about this younger brother and sister. The original owner had a proud temperament, while the father favored his eldest daughter and neglected the 2 younger ones. And the original owner also tried to focus on cultivation, and was not very close to his younger brother and sister. And Jiang Ran. She used to be an only daughter and wasn't very good at handling such relationships. However, it has now been decided to inherit this new identity and live on. Regardless, there is a responsibility towards the 2 guys. After weighing the pros and cons, I quickly followed Li Butler Jiang Ran to Jiang Xiaowen's room. A girl about 8 years old, with a pale face, was lying weakly on the bed. There is a handsome boy of 9 or 10 years old by the bed, with a pale complexion and swollen eyes. It's the 2 siblings of Nancheng Xiaowen. Upon hearing the sound, Jiang Nancheng quickly wiped away his tears and looked towards the door with teary eyes. However, upon seeing Jiang Ran, Jiang Nancheng's mouth trembled as if he had seen the backbone, and tears instinctively began to fall. However, thinking of his sister's usual indifference and harshness, he couldn't help but shrink his neck and forcefully hold back his tears. Seeing this, Jiang Ran remained calm on her face and inwardly expressed trouble. In 3 steps, Jiang Ran took 2 steps and walked to the bedside. She opened Jiang Nancheng and weighed the little girl's forehead with her hand, but there was no scorching heat, ruling out the possibility of a fever. I took another breath and lifted my eyelids with my hand to take a look. Sweating cold, shortness of breath. Like starving out. Where have all the servants of the Jiang family gone? Hungry, this is really outrageous. Jiang Ran turned her head to look at Jiang Nancheng, but the latter's body trembled subconsciously due to her gaze. Jiang Ran's eyes twitched and she was speechless. The original owner was a bit cold, but it seems like they haven't abused these 2 people, have they? How long haven't you eaten anything? Although Jiang Ran's tone was still gentle, Jiang Nancheng was like a frightened cat, and then he was pleasantly surprised. He clenched his fingers and made a soft, kitten-like voice, 2 or 2 days. Jiang Ran's tone didn't show any anger, but was extremely soft. 2 days. The indistinguishable tone gave Li Fusheng a feeling of shivering. Butler Li, where are the people in the back kitchen? This. Li Fusheng's face turned fearful. Jiang Ran repeated in a slightly cold tone, Butler, where are people? End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Jiang Xiaowen and Jiang Nanqing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Jiang Xiaowen and Jiang Nanqing. Jiang Ran's expression was actually very plain throughout, but it was the calmness that made it even more elusive. Anxiety spreads on the tip of the heart, followed by anger and self-blame. Anger is towards the people in the back kitchen, who just haven't been watching for a day or two, and these people have actually relaxed their work. I also blamed myself for not fulfilling my responsibilities. Even though I knew that the old lord had passed away and everyone in the lord's mansion was disheartened, I did not step forward to comfort him in the first place. Lord, it's a minor negligence. I'll just ask the cook to make some food and come over. Xiaowen's situation couldn't be delayed. Although Jiang Ran was angry, she still let out a calm and indifferent nod. In fact, she also understood that the negligence in the kitchen could not be entirely attributed to Li Fusheng. The funeral of the original owner's father was arranged with the assistance of Butler Li, and she was so busy that she forgot about the Nanqing siblings. But with a small punishment and a big warning, what needs to be struck must be struck. I have seen the diligence of Butler Li, but Nanqing Xiaowen is the master. There is no servant who makes the master starve. I will punish you for this month's wages. Fortunately, he only deducted this salary, and Butler Li breathed a sigh of relief. I couldn't help but take a glance at Jiang Ran. I always felt like something was different. Is it temperament? I feel more calm and steady. Although my expression is still quite indifferent, I seem to treat people more leniently. Have you really experienced a mutation and become sensible? I thought that without the old lord, Su Ling town would soon collapse, but now perhaps, by the way. Jiang Ran paused and called out to Li Fusheng, tonight, bring over all the servants of Jiang Mansion, the warriors of Su Ling town, and the various officials and village chiefs. I want to see them. After hesitating for a moment, Jiang Ran said. Also, continue to search for Dr. Wang's whereabouts. Call Xiangcao over to take care of Xiaowen and Xiaocheng. Xiangcao is Jiang Ran's maid. Although Suling town is small and poor, people like the original owner who were trained as heirs still have their own personal maids. However, whether it is the original owner or Jiang Ran, they do not like anyone to follow them at all times. Coincidentally, we can now transfer the herbs to take care of Jiang Nanqing and Jiang Xiaowen. Also, my injured uncle Jiang Yuan should be called over. If it doesn't work, let's use some means. When mentioning Jiang Yuan, a hint of suspicion and doubt flashed through Jiang Ran's eyes. Li Fusheng was surprised for a moment, but didn't ask much and quickly stepped back. As Jiang Nanqing watched the entire process, he couldn't help but weakly ask, Sister, Xiaowen, she. Dad. Is Xiaowen also? As he spoke, Jiang Nanqing couldn't help but wipe away a tear. Jiang Nanqing's eye circles are red and swollen, so he must have been crying for a long time. Jiang Ran has a headache, she doesn't know how to coax children. The death of the original owner's father undoubtedly dealt a great blow to the Jiang family and even the entire territory, and the most direct and profound ones were his several children. After all, Jiang Ran was not heartless. Seeing how pitiful he was, she touched his head. Thinking that he had not eaten for a long time, she was afraid that she couldn't bear it. She touched him in her arms and only took out a few candies. Jiang Ran tried to be gentle with the cubs and stuffed the sugar into Jiang Nanqing's mouth. Her tone softened a bit and she said, Xiaowen will be fine. As he spoke, he felt the incessant airflow flowing through his body. As the veins moved between his hands, he suddenly felt his palms burning hot. With a powerful and unfamiliar force, he shook another candy into powder. Poured a glass of water, poured in the sugar powder, and then shook it. Seeing the sugar powder and warm water blend together, Jiang Ran helped Jiang Xiaowen, who was still in a coma, and fed her in carefully. Instinctively, Jiang Xiaowen's throat rolled, like a traveler who had long met nectar, eagerly swallowing the source of life. After feeding her a cup of sugar water, Jiang Ran felt a little relieved as she looked better. With a sweet taste in his mouth, Jiang Nanqing looked foolishly at the older sister who used to be difficult to approach. Just now, did my sister touch his head? Did you even give him candy? Is this still that sister? However, there was an inexplicable sense of peace of mind. After feeding Xiaowen, she patted her face and pinched someone again, and then Jiang Xiaowen woke up from her deep sleep. Jiang Xiaowen is in a daze. She is still young, but she is more sensible than her peers, and even more mature than her brother Jiang Nanqing, who is 2 years older than her. Thinking of my deceased father, a wave of sadness surged up like a tide. Sister, Xiaowen is awake. Jiang Nanqing couldn't help but approach, and his face, covered in dark clouds, finally had a clear day. Upon hearing the words, sister, Jiang Xiaowen woke up in a daze. She also had the worst cultivation qualifications and a weak body. She had always had the lowest status in the entire Jiang family, and was always looked down upon and despised by her highly valued sister. When she was very young, she couldn't forget a sentence her sister had said to her with full hatred. You shouldn't have appeared in this world. If it weren't for you, my mother wouldn't have passed away. You, whom my mother exchanged for with her life, couldn't even lift a sword. Such foolishness is simply a shame to the Jiang family. It was simply reflexive. Jiang Xiaowen was sweating profusely and her eyes were flustered, like a little rabbit being stared at by a wolf. Inferiority, guilt, and lowliness. Sister. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have appeared in front of my sister, she would be unhappy. Jiang Xiaowen was so anxious that she was almost crying. This fearful appearance made Jiang Ran's eyebrows furrow and her temples swell. In fact, she is also at a loss whether to deal with the extra cheap younger brothers and sisters. Jiang Xiaowen's past is being traced back in her memory. Jiang Ran thought to herself that the original owner was still too young. After all, he is only 15 years old and still childish, blaming his mother's death entirely on his younger sister. What can Jiang Xiaowen decide? At that time, she didn't even have the right to choose her own birth. Jiang Ran is not the original owner after all. She doesn't understand the attitude of the original owner, but she has her own pride. Even if she rightfully takes over someone else's body, she disdains to disguise herself as the original owner in every word and action, and there is no need to imitate the attitude of the original owner to treat Jiang Xiaowen and Jiang Nanqing. But they may still need time between each other. It's also a bit difficult for her to accept a younger brother or sister at once. But you can try it. At least, she doesn't dislike either of them. Jiang Xiaowen and Jiang Nanqing were stunned. Jiang Ran said, you should rest well first. The kitchen will soon prepare the food, father. Don't think too much, I won't easily abandon you. Jiang Ran admitted that she was also a bit selfish, so the promise she made was not to give up easily, not absolutely not to give up. The premise of not abandoning her is that her 2 younger brothers and sisters will not be enemies of her. However, these 2 little ones didn't think so much. Upon hearing what Jiang Ran said, they only felt overwhelmed by the sweet shells. Jiang Ran saw 2 little guys, one standing by the bed and the other leaning against the bed, both with big round eyes, like little dogs being picked up. However, they were unexpectedly blinded by happiness and showed a very pitiful and ridiculous expression. Jiang Ran's expression was somewhat complicated and she was not good at dealing with this situation, so she asked Xiangcao to take good care of the 2 of them and left. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Magical Demons. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Magical Demons. After Jiang Ran left, Jiang Xiaowen and Jiang Nanqing looked at each other. Sister is so gentle. Jiang Xiaowen felt a bit confused. Like a bird about to fly out of its heart, its mood uncontrollably leaps with joy. But more importantly, I can't believe it. Brother, just now my sister said she won't abandon us. Jiang Nanqing also had a stunned expression that he had seen for a long time. He caressed his beating heart and said, yes, it seems that sister is different. She even gave us some candy. It seems like it's a bit too sweet. Jiang Ran returned to her room. The primitive-style bedroom had a bit of exotic charm, and looking at herself in the carved mirror, her appearance was no different from before. She suddenly thought she was still on that earth. In the less exquisite mirror, there is a beauty who is truly breathtaking and captivating. Jiang Ran's death was actually a bit unfair. If I'm not mistaken, she died suddenly while reading a book. Pulling at her white clothes, Jiang Ran felt a bit uncomfortable. She also liked white, but didn't like the rough texture of the clothes. But her biggest concern is not her appearance. It seems that we have already entered the early stage of the gathering spirit 5 realms. As she thought in her heart, just like instinct, a constant flow of energy flowed through her body, flowing between her hands with her heart, and a powerful force filled it. This is a mystical world with a vast worldview and magical spiritual power. People with talent can absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, practice with secret scriptures, and possess superpowers. The father of the original Lord was able to conquer a piece of land and become a target for thousands of people to follow, and the fact that the original Lord could become a minor Lord was largely due to his status as a cultivator. Spiritual energy cultivation can be divided into martial arts and techniques. There are many professions in martial arts, such as warriors, knights, swordsmen, etc. Practitioners of magic include mages, spiritual artists, and so on. In addition, there are many special professions such as spirit beast master, alchemist, and alchemist. There are significant differences between the two cultivation methods, and the direction of the main attack is also different. Martial artists enjoy using spiritual energy to transform their bodies, so that their superior bodies can absorb more pure spiritual energy. And sorcerers focus more on exercising their spiritual power, making the spiritual energy in their bodies increasingly pure, and then supplementing themselves. And there are also significant differences in their combat methods. Human energy and life are limited, and people with ordinary qualifications generally only choose one path of cultivation. Of course, there are also talented individuals who can cultivate both martial arts and techniques. In addition, whether it is a warrior, a sorcerer, or even a warcraft, the realm of cultivation is unified, divided into 10 major realms. Opening meridians, gathering spirits, refining spirits, Xuangu, recognizing the sea, Dantian, Chufan, Tongsheng, Ningxian, and Huashan. Each of these 10 realms contains 10 minor realms. The original owner is a spirit-gathering martial artist with prefecture-level talents and water system attributes. Jiang Ran is currently in the early stage of the gathering spirit 5 realms cultivation. However, what surprised her was that when she first arrived, the original master had only gathered at the peak of the triple realm. In the past 7 days, she had never practiced at all and inexplicably reached the 5 realms. Jiang Ran wondered, is cultivation such a fun and easy thing to do? You should know that the father of the original owner, Jiang Fucheng, started practicing at the age of 10 and has been practicing for 30 years, but he has only reached the peak of the 9 realms of the gathering spirit realm. Moreover, the changes over the past 2 weeks have not only been so. Thinking about it, Jiang Ran opened her palm and a clump of water appeared out of nowhere. The temperature around her suddenly dropped, and the bottom of the water gradually froze with ice. In the end, only a clump of ice remained suspended in Jiang Ran's palm. The water system attributes of the original owner began to mutate into an ice system, but they still retain the characteristics of the original owner's water system and seem to have developed spatial attributes. This spatial attribute was discovered by Jiang Ran several times when she touched an object, but the object mysteriously flashed 1 meter away from her body. She has tested this kind of space tearing, and she can only move items the size of a fist at most, and the distance of movement cannot exceed 1 meter of herself. A little chicken ribs. So, she guessed on her own that she is probably a martial artist in the water, ice, and space realms now. These were all things that changed after she traveled through time, so Jiang Ran suspected that she was different from the original owner in the essence of her soul. The essence of cultivation is related to the soul. Fortunately, the original owner had a cold personality and had limited contact with people. Coincidentally, Jiang Fuqing passed away, and with such a big blow, even a sudden change in personality would not make people too suspicious. And even if others notice something is wrong, what happens? Jiang Ran can shamelessly occupy someone else's shell, what else can she care about? After dealing with the aftermath of the original owner's father, she finally has time to analyze her own situation. First, she cleared up some of the assets she had obtained, which were all things she needed to settle down. Firstly, there is a water-infused scripture, which is Jiang Fuqing's adventure and a top-notch cultivation technique. It was this cultivation technique that brought Jiang Fuqing, who had average qualifications, to the peak of the 9 levels of gathering spirits. This cultivation technique is kept confidential to the outside world. The original owner's father did not even teach Xiaowen and Xiaocheng, but only taught them to the original owner. Secondly, there are 2 demon spirits. Demons, they are truly magical beings. Even after several days, Jiang Ran was still somewhat amazed when faced with demons. Jiang Ran summoned 2 creatures from her body that looked like insects. These 2 insects are both as big as a palm and have a body shape like a silkworm. One of them, with a crystal-clear body flowing with golden veins, shimmering with extraordinary fluorescence on its skin, has a pair of amber-like eyes that sparkle with spiritual radiance. In the middle and above of each pair of eyes, there is a pattern resembling a grain of wheat. The other one, with a transparent pink body and a mulberry outline on its forehead, looks very similar to the other except for its color and pattern. It can be said that the demon spirit is a plant cultivated to the point of becoming a refined existence. When a plant reaches its peak of strength, it will turn into a demon insect. But demons and harmful spirits are different. They themselves have no killing power, just like true hermits. Their nature allows them to avoid the survival of humans and other creatures, making them appear more rare. And demons are beings favored by this world, and ordinary people cannot harm them. If they harm them, they will receive backlash. And it will only be captured by the living spiritual power, in other words, only cultivators and warcraft can contract with it. And demons can be inherited or plundered. These plant spirits and demons are unable to reproduce on their own, and when they reach the end of their lives, they return to the dust along with fallen leaves. As for demons, there are also levels, divided into 5 levels. Young spirit insects, young spirit monsters, young fairies, holy fairies, and super holy fairies. And the 2 in Jiang Ran's hand are the lowest level of demon spirits. Young spirit insects. They were respectively born on wheat plants and mulberry trees, and according to the different categories of plants they were born on, these 2 are called mailing worms and sangling worms, respectively. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. System Implementation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 System Implementation. These 2 spirits can help cultivate corresponding plants. The powerful influence of demon insects can even cover a village, and it can even make crops grow twice a year. Young spirit insects have some intelligence, but they are still unable to communicate well. The reason why the Jiang family can have tens of thousands of followers is not only because the Jiang family provides land free from warcraft invasion, but also because the Mailing bug provides a stable source of food. With the presence of the wheat spirit worm, as long as the leaders work hard to cultivate, they will almost never starve to death. As for higher-level spirits, their influence can cover a town. Compared to juvenile spirit insects, it affects a wider area of land and can maintain soil activity for at least 10 days after assimilation. The juvenile spirit of breaking cocoons into butterflies gave birth to wings, which have two forms. Bird wings of tree-shaped plants and butterfly wings of non-tree-shaped plants. It is said that the body of the young spirit monster is humanoid, but its hands and feet are shaped like hairless cat claws, and its nose is also very similar to that of cats or dogs, slightly raised. Its hair symbolizes its plant properties. Jiang Ran thought that if the young spirit monster evolved into a young spirit monster, it wouldn't have been carrying a rough straw on its head. Young spirit monsters are only as big as human slaps. Becoming more spiritual, but unfortunately, they are not the fairies in the picture book. It seems that even if fairies evolve to their final form, they will not speak. Intelligence will evolve over time. The average lifespan of young spirit monsters is 30 years. The abilities of young spirit monsters are so incredible, let alone young fairies and holy fairies. As for super holy fairies, they are legendary beings that have only been heard of. The two summoned demons trusted and relied heavily on Jiang Ran. Especially the sangling worm, which is still relatively young, just over 3 years old and lively, has already rubbed against Jiang Ran's index finger with its cute big head and satisfaction. Jummy Jummy, Q, greater than or equal to less than or equal to Q, wants to eat. Feeling the emotions of Sang Ling Chong, Jiang Ran smiled helplessly and said, if you want to eat, you have to act coquettishly. Demons can draw energy from their native plants instead of eating. However, demons also have their favorite food. The Jiang family often feeds two demons with jade powder, a powder extracted from stones containing energy. As far as Jiang Ran knows, jade powder is considered a relatively inferior food among demon food. However, even if it is inferior, jade powder is still beneficial for the growth of demons. The entire Jiang mansion is not considered wealthy, and it is already good to provide jade powder to demons. After all, Jiang Fuqing himself always tightens his belt. Even if his pockets don't look good, he visits Tianjin City once a month to bring back some jade powder. Jiang Ran complained about the mulberry spirit worms being greedy, but her body was very honest and went to find food for the two demon spirits. Turning around the room, I opened a box and found neatly arranged small porcelain bottles. Inside the small porcelain bottles were food for the spirits. I took out a porcelain bottle and fed it to the two spirits. The two little ones were very excited when they saw the food and started eating happily. There was a visual sensation of feeding the child, and Jiang Ranman unconsciously caressed the patterns on the body of the mailing insect. The movement of the mailing chong is very slow, like an old man in his twilight, both physically and mentally revealing a hint of lethargy. The average lifespan of a spirit insect is only 10 years. If it cannot break through into a demon or spirit monster within a limited time limit, it may be there are only these two demons in the entire Suling town, and the Mailing bug, which controls the main source of food, is of utmost importance. Jiang Ran is certain that if Mailing bug dies, at least half of the residents in Suling town will betray and seek refuge with other lords. And without her status as a lord, her future becomes even more perplexed. Feeling a bit worried, Jiang Ran was lost in thought when suddenly several panels appeared in front of her. Lord Assistance System, Territory Basic Information Panel, Place Name. Suling Town Lord. Jiang Ran Territory Area. 135 square kilometers. Number of residents. 20,000 plus leader loyalty. 20, 100, number of demon spirits. 2, wheat spirit worms, mulberry spirit worms, dot. Overall level. Town level, township, town, county, county, province, country, hegemonic level, evaluation. Small and pitiful territory, few and pitiful people and wealth, low and pitiful loyalty, your lord's position is precarious. Personal panel, name. Jiang Ran age. 15 years old gender. Female cultivation. In the early stage of the 5th level of the Gathering Spirit Realm talent. Unknown qualification. Unknown properties. Water, ice, space, dot. Internal cultivation technique. Water injection manual, heavenly level technique, skills and techniques. Water/skill, fan, 3 forms of breaking waves, fan, skills. Water/wave breaking finger divine power. Nun holding demon spirits. Myling bug, Sangling bug holding magic tools. Nun holding spirit beasts and warcraft pets. Nun all territories. Suling town reputation value. 1255, demon spirit panel, mailing worm qualification. Poor, red, rare level. Normal personality. Persistent age. 10 years old spirulin. Nun variation. Nun, in the countdown of life, the persistent mailing worm still persists in assimilating the land, but this little creature seems unwilling to accept it. Sangling worm qualification. Elite, green, rare level. Normal personality. Perseverance age. 3 years old spirulin. Nun variation. Nun, neglected and undervalued spirit insects, working hard to gain recognition. Jiang Ran was taken aback for a moment, her head buzzing. But soon, she calmed down. She has experienced enough horrifying things in the past half-month, a sudden system that just made her more numb. This system panel inexplicably appeared in her mind, and Jiang Ran adapted to it and found that it could switch and zoom in and out according to her own ideas. In addition to these 3 panels, this system also has a taskbar and a shopping mall. However, there are no tasks to claim in the taskbar, only one explanation. Can be triggered on its own. Jiang Ran is a bit of a resident of Bumbu. What's the use of asking you? End of this chapter. Chapter 5. The Evolution History of a Demon Spirit. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. The evolution history of a demon spirit. Jiang Ran controlled her mind and opened her curious shopping mall, only to see a simple search bar at the top of the mall, probably used for searching for products. And only 3 items popped up below, namely. Phoenix Divine Fire, Immortal Divine Fire. 150000 Reputation Value Premium Fire Source Crystal. 500000 Reputation Value Wanxiang Exercise, Heavenly Level. 100000 Reputation Points. Jiang Ran is even more speechless. These 3 products all start with a reputation value of 100,000, and she only has a reputation value of 1,000, so she can't afford to buy them at all. However, she can now be certain that if this system has no other intentions, then the system that has emerged now is definitely beneficial to herself, and she needs to carefully study how to utilize this system. In addition, she was a bit worried about how to help the beetle break free from the shackles of life. She has also developed feelings with these 2 little guys these days. After all, who wouldn't love a capable and beautiful pet? She didn't want the beetle to leave her, and the beetle had a strong will to survive, like wildfire. She has just inherited Suling Town, and the loyalty of the people is very low. She doesn't want her own people to flee to other territories because they don't have enough food, so she will become a bear rod commander. No, maybe even the commander didn't have to do it and just occupied other towns and countries. So, for the sake of oneself, we also need to find ways to help the Mailing Chong overcome this difficulty. Jiang Ran looked at the system. Suddenly had an idea. Although she has little knowledge about demons, the system may not be accurate. Although this system may seem rudimentary and currently lacks any practical assistance, it still has a taskbar and a shopping mall. Tasks can be triggered, although the triggering conditions are not yet known. It's okay. You can first check the search bar in the mall. Jiang Ran thought it was enough again and thought to herself, there is always a book that can understand demons, and there is a way for my Ling Chong to successfully advance to the level of demons and monsters. Forgive Jiang Ran for being dazed by reading books. Even if she died suddenly in her past life, at this critical moment, the first thing that comes to mind is still books. After thinking about it, Jiang Ran no longer hesitated and quickly opened the search bar of the mall. After a moment of thought, she entered the word demon in the search bar. A dazzling array of products popped out in an instant, and a large layout was divided into nearly 100 small pieces, which could still be flipped down. After a brief glance, Jiang Ran found that there was no trading of individual demon spirits in the mall, so it seems that the system cannot sell demon spirits. I'm a bit disappointed. However, there are many foods for spirits, such as common jade powder. There are also several flavors available, as well as some cherished foods such as milk cotton cordyceps, etc. These foods are priced between 100 reputation and 100,000. Affordable food, Jiang Ran doesn't need it, and ineffective food, Jiang Ran can't afford it. Jiang Ran shook her head and gave up the idea of using good food to try to break free from the shackles of the mailing worm. It was some books about demons that caught Jiang Ran's attention. 10,000 reputation points for Brief Description of Demons, 100,000 reputation points for Evolutionary Reveals of Demons, and 500,000 reputation points for Demons. Traces of the Super Holy Fairy. Although Jiang Ran can't afford these books, it's okay. What she wants to know now is how to transform a mediocre monster into a monster. The book, The 4 Evolutionary Reveals of Demons, seems to be about the evolution of demons, which may help Jiang Ran, but she is poor. However, it gave Jiang Ran an inspiration. Jiang Ran licked her slightly dry lips, crossed off the search for the demon spirit, and changed it to books, demon insect. Sure enough, it jumped out of what Jiang Ran wanted. The Life History of a Demon Worm. 1,000 reputation points. This is a short autobiography that documents the author's journey from encountering and growing up with a demonic insect to its disappearance. Books about the evolution of demons and spirits are very expensive. This book does not directly reveal how demons and spirits evolved into monsters, but starts from the ordinary life of demons and spirits, and almost every aspect is mentioned. Jiang Ran plans to start from the clues inside and study a path for the evolution of demon worms into demon monsters on her own. Simply buying this book, Jiang Ran watched expressionlessly as her reputation increased from 1255 to 255. Jiang Ran was curious about the form in which the book would be delivered to her after buying it. Just as she thought about it, she saw a very faint fluorescence emanating from the air before her eyes, and then a book that looked inferior from the cover fell to the ground. Are you teasing me? Jiang Ran admitted that she was initially excited, but this very poor quality second-hand book made her instantly feel that the system was inferior. After all, cheap goods are not good, having them would be great. She doesn't want to put in effort to disdain a system that has helped her at least, but she really doesn't know how to face it with what kind of mood. But comforting himself, he picked up the book. Appearance is a secondary, important connotation. Jummy. The cute demon insects had already eaten their fill and climbed up to Jiang Ran's side with satisfaction, emitting excited emotions. Jiang Ran chuckled lightly and touched the chubby heads of the two little ones. Looking at the struggling but still persistent Mailing Chong, she promised, "I know you're not willing, I'll find a way, trust me." I don't know who once said that Jiang Ran looks very handsome when he takes it seriously. The mailing bug is not human, but this weak life feels the enthusiasm and reliability of its new owner. The mailing bug is now like an old man who has reached the end of his life. His body is slow, but his fragile body cannot trap his strong spirit. The spirit of the demonic bug is very limited, but the mailing bug has a strong attachment to life. And the previous owner has never responded to its demands. Or they may not have the ability to respond. The spirits of the demon and its master are interconnected. Upon hearing Jiang Ran's words, Mai Lingchong's liking for the new master skyrocketed. In the dark, their relationship deepened and their contract became stronger. With the expectation of the Mailing Chong, Jiang Ran was about to open the book and flip through it when a knock came from the door. "Lord, the chefs have prepared their meals." Miss Wen and young Master Nanching have been served and eaten. All the adults you want me to notify have arrived in the hall, and the servants of the Jiang mansion are also on standby. Do you want to have your meal now? Butler Li did not directly push the door in, but knocked on the door outside and asked. Looking out the window, the sky was dim and it was already evening. Jiang Ran received the book of the system in her arms, her dark eyes slightly darkened, and said, managerly, come in first. I need your help with a few things. The owner's tone was very serious. Upon hearing this, Li Fusheng dared not delay and gently pushed the door in. After bowing slightly, he carefully closed the door. Upon seeing this, Jiang Ran inwardly praised that Li Fusheng was meticulous and loyal enough to have someone who could be useful. Jiang Ran first asked, managerly, has Dr. Wang found it? End of this chapter. Chapter 6. The Fluctuation of People's Hearts. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. The Fluctuation of People's Hearts. Li, the butler, shook his head and was also puzzled. As the only physician in Suling town, Dr. Wang is usually on standby at the Jiang mansion. I haven't seen him since the day before yesterday when he said he would treat the injured Mr. Jiang Yuan. Jiang Ran was not surprised, but she said to Li Fusheng, later, you can find a few trustworthy people and go to Jiang Yuan's mansion. Don't make a fuss, go quietly, and once you find someone, take them to the hall immediately. Why secretly go to Lord Jiang Yuan's mansion to find Dr. Wang? Li Fusheng was also a clever person. Thinking of Jiang Yuan's background and the mysterious disappearance of Dr. Wang, he widened his eyes and was very surprised. Lord, what do you mean? Is it that Jiang Yuan? If Jiang Yuan really had the thoughts he shouldn't have, Li Fusheng wouldn't even want to call him an adult. I only secretly despised an ungrateful thing. Also, did you mention it to anyone else when you called Dr. Wang to come to the Jiang mansion before? Li Fusheng shook his head and said, now the people in Jiang mansion are in a state of anxiety. One thing is one thing. Xiao Wen, the young master, fainted for no reason. I dare not speak too loudly and have not told anyone else. Jiang Ran nodded, feeling more confident in her plan. So, Butler Li, you'll go ahead and reveal to the people in the hall that I can't accept my father's death. Last night, I went alone to seek revenge on the ice demon wolf, but I was seriously injured by the ice demon wolf. Now I'm holding on to my injuries. Li Fusheng nodded solemnly and quickly retreated. At the same time, I am very grateful for Jiang Ran's trust in him, and I only think that I must complete these two tasks assigned by the Lord well. The ice demon wolf in Jiang Ran's mouth is a demon beast from the early stage of the first realm of spiritual cultivation, and also the murderer who killed the original owner's father. As for why Jiang Fucheng, as the peak of the 9 realms of gathering spirits, wanted to provoke a demon beast that was much stronger than the alchemy realm, the reason was that he possessed a spirit element that could improve the cultivation of cultivators and monsters. The Ice G spirit worm. Originally, with Jiang Fucheng's cultivation and nearly 100 cultivators, facing the ice demon wolf in the early stage of the head refining realm, even if he couldn't win, he could still retreat with his whole body. However, a team led by Jiang Yuan was entangled by a Warcraft burst rabbit in the gathering spirit 5 realms. Even involving other teams. Warcraft of this level, such as the alchemy realm, are futile for some cultivators from the open meridian gathering spirit realm to rush forward. Jiang Fucheng's original intention was to injure the alchemy realm and then escape before being besieged. However, unable to do so, Jiang Fucheng fought against the ice demon wolf alone, but in the end, the second cultivator from Suling town, Tian, arrived and rescued Jiang Fucheng. However, his injuries were too severe, and he eventually entrusted Suling town to Jiang Ran with his remaining body, and then left to the west. Jiang Yuan is definitely a problem. Behind the coincidence is a man-made inevitability. Moreover, after the death of the original owner's father, Uncle Jiang Yuan did not help with the aftermath and instead disappeared, as if searching for something. Jiang Ran can probably think of what Jiang Yuan is looking for again. The most valuable thing in the entire town of Suling is only three things. One is the water injection scripture that only Jiang Ran knows, the other is the territory contract. Jade map, and finally there are two demon spirits. The jade map of the territory contract in Suling town, which symbolizes ruling power, was passed on to Jiang Fuqing in front of Jiang Yuan before her death. Jiang Yuan could only want two demons. If Jiang Yuan knew that two demons had been passed on to me by Jiang Fuqing 2 weeks ago, he would probably try his best to kill me. After all, the only way to plunder demons is to kill the original owner and let the original contract be automatically terminated. Jiang Yuan's cultivation is pitifully at the peak of the 9th level of the opening pulse, while the original master's cultivation has the 3rd level of gathering spirits. If he doesn't show some weakness actively, that cowardly ghost wouldn't dare to reveal his wolf-like ambition. In order not to reveal any flaws, Jiang Ran also applied a layer of powder on her face and mouth. After confirming that she looked as if she had been seriously injured, she walked out weakly. The larger figures from the entire Suling town arrived at the Jiang mansion, filling the entire Jiang family hall. After Li, the butler, revealed at Jiang Ran's request that she had been seriously injured, he went silently to find someone to go to Jiang Yuan's mansion to see Dr. Wang. It's Xiao Ling, oh no, it's Lord. It looks like he has really been seriously injured. I hope nothing happens. The former lord has just left, and Suling town cannot be without an heir. Many people's worries are about to overflow, especially the soldiers directly belonging to the lord's mansion. The old lord went too suddenly, but fortunately the new lord has high talent. As long as they assist well, Suling town may be able to take it to the next level. However, the new lord is still young. After all, Jiang Ran is well aware of the current fluctuations in people's hearts, and can only take one step at a time. Currently, what she needs most is to eliminate those with malicious intentions and establish her own confidence. Glancing at the 4 village chiefs again. Suling town is divided into 4 villages, namely Qingshan village, Shitian village, Aojia village, and Fenyu village. The 4 village chiefs have different thoughts. Li Yinyo, the head of Qingshan village, is the most honest and responsible to the village. He is still muttering in a low voice, this year's wheat is not growing well, and the Lord's wheat spirit insect has been missing for a long time. I don't know if the Lord can agree to let the wheat spirit insect cast a spell. Oh, it's really frustrating. Yang Dong from Shitian village was even more snobbish. Seeing such a big shot gathered in the hall, he had already walked around in a flattering manner. The Linling and Jiangli of Aojia village and Fenyu village are located next to Jiang Yuan, and their relationship is quite close. Jiang Ran looked at Jiang Yuan. Jiang Yuan has a big face and small eyes, high cheekbones and thin skin, a dark complexion, and a mischievous demeanor. Jiang Yuan, who was originally called uncle for 15 years. However, in reality, Jiang Yuan has no blood relationship with the original owner. He was originally not surnamed Jiang, and even had no name. Others called him a dog egg. It is said that when Jiang Fuqing was a young man, he lived a miserable life. When he was dying of hunger, it was Jiang Yuan who gave Jiang Fuqing a moldy mantu. For beggars, a moldy mantu is also precious. Jiang Fuqing has always kept this kindness in his heart. Later, Jiang Fuqing got the opportunity and encountered a dog egg that was about to be killed. Jiang Fuqing recognized him and saved him. Originally, one life was worth another, and the kindness had already been repaid. However, Jiang Fuqing was the most affectionate person, and in addition, Guden was determined to follow him, so he took him in. In the end, he even recognized Guden as his brother, and from then on, Guden changed his name to Jiang Yuan. Jiang Ran sighed, perhaps when Jiang Yuan was a dog egg, he still had a kind heart. But after so many years, Jiang Yuan is no longer the same scoundrel as he used to be. His privileged life over the years has long been a source of greed, giving him thoughts he shouldn't have. Jiang Ran's eyes drooped slightly, feeling sad, replacing the original owner's father. Covering the emotions in her eyes, she was afraid that she couldn't conceal her murderous intent towards Jiang Yuan. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Gathering. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Gathering. However, she did not expect that there would be additional gains besides Jiang Yuan. It seems that Jiang Yuan has convinced several people. Village chief, it seems like there's no big deal to talk about. However, there are only 4 village chiefs in Suling town, and the size and affairs of each village are directly managed by the village chief. If the village chief has ulterior motives, it may directly or indirectly affect the loyalty of the villagers to Suling town. However, it's not a big deal for the time being. If the village head is not suitable for replacement, it's okay. The villagers are most concerned about the harvest. Although the village head governs the villagers, it's all about the ultimate loyalty of the villagers. As long as the Mailingchong doesn't disappear and is still in Jiang Ran's hands, the villagers will be unconditionally loyal to themselves. However, at this critical moment, the Mailing bug has encountered another problem. It's really full of disasters and difficulties. With Jiang Ran's arrival, the originally noisy hall instantly quieted down. Sister. At this moment, 2 small heads stretched out from the dining room. Looking at Jiang Ran, the 2 little ones were a bit cautious and still had some fear towards her. But his eyes sparkled with anticipation. Obviously, Jiang Ran's performance during the day gave these 2 children a hint of dependence. The feeling of being trusted is always good. Jiang Ran lowered her eyes to look at them, and the corner of her mouth couldn't help but rise a bit. She waved her right hand to signal them to come over. Children's perception is very strong, especially sensitive children like Jiang Xiaowen and Jiang Nancheng. They felt Jiang Ran's acceptance of them. Feeling uncontrollable for a moment, like a round and tumbling newborn beast, the 2 children rushed towards Jiang Ran with their fearless spirit. Jiang Ran still held on to her role of pretending to be injured, and when she hugged the 2 little ones, she turned half of her face to the others, with a frown that seemed to suppress the pain. At this moment, there was indeed someone restless. Have you eaten it? Jiang Ran asked. Jiang Nancheng raised his head slightly and replied, an hour ago, after eating some white porridge, the cook said that we had been hungry for a long time, so we'd better just eat some congee to cushion our stomach. Okay, then you can join me in having some food now. Although the Jiang mansion is small, it has all 5 internal organs. Although the Lord's mansion of Nuada has a dining hall, Jiang Ran asked the servants to move their meals to the living room where they discussed matters. So everyone looked at each other, not knowing what the newly appointed Lord was thinking. They gathered them together, but they didn't say anything and still thought of eating first. However, the power of the Lord is paramount. No matter what the Lord does, all they need to do is obey. Jiang Yuan here is feeling restless. He searched for 2 demon insects for a long time but didn't see any trace. Before Jiang Fucheng's death, he was always by his side, of course not deeply brotherly. Jiang Yuan was just trying to keep the demons from falling into his hands. He can be certain that Jiang Fucheng did not give the spirit worm to the dead girl at that time. The hiding ability of the demon spirit is extremely strong. If the demon spirit becomes an unowned object, it may quickly disappear in Suling town. What is this yellow-haired girl gathering people here for at this time? She's really tough. The sand scorpion I brought didn't even poison her. Jiang Yuan's eyes were full of sinister colors. He won't let Jiang Ran go. Once he finds 2 demons and takes control of Suling town, he will send these 3 sons and sisters to see their father. He is also considered kind. The sky gradually darkened, and the dark light squeezed against the sky, as if there was a heavy and oppressive drop of crimson in the eyes. There were quite a few people in the entire living room, but it seemed somewhat quiet for no reason. As it was getting late, Jiang Ran's face became increasingly pale, and a sense of solemnity emerged. Jiang Ran said to Jiang Nancheng and Jiang Xiaowen, "Hurry up and eat. After finishing your meal, go back early and rest. Don't go out tonight." Jiang Xiaowen and Jiang Nancheng were confused, but obediently nodded, accelerating the pace of their meal. Jiang Yuan couldn't help but feel a little anxious in his heart. He had to quickly get the two demons from Suling town. He didn't have much time and energy to dress up with the girl who was destined to enter the underworld in his eyes. So he said earnestly, "Xiao Ran, why don't we gather everyone here? If there's anything, let's talk about it first. It's not good to leave everyone here, don't you think?" Jiang Ran glanced at Jiang Yuan but remained silent. She just brushed her palms weakly, and my Ling bug and Sang Ling bug appeared on the table. The extraordinary aura of demons and spirits immediately attracted everyone. "Great, it's a demon. As long as the Lord is kind, the fields in Qingshan village will definitely harvest a lot of food," said Li E. Newton, the village chief of Qingshan. The sound of detailed discussions came from the hall. Jiang Yuan's expression immediately changed. What came to mind? His eyes were about to crack, his veins were bursting, and his originally ugly face became even uglier. Jiang Yuan angrily said, When did the demon come into the hands of that despicable person, Jiang Fucheng? That old guy is actually guarding me." Lin Ling and Jiang Li, who were surrounded by him, were also startled. Their faces were ugly, and their eyes were fixed on Jiang Yuan. "Didn't you say?" Before he could finish speaking, he saw Jiang Yuan's face look terrifying, and then realized that Jiang Yuan had the ability to open his pulse, and they were just two ordinary people who could only swallow the anger of Jiang Yuan deceiving him. These two little servants, Jiang Yuan, didn't have the heart to care about him. Seeing the demon spirit in Jiang Ran's hand, they couldn't sit still, like jackals and wolves, eager to take action against Jiang Ran. But there are many people in the hall who are loyal to the old lord. Not to mention how loyal they are to the newly appointed Lord Jiang Ran, but at least these people will definitely protect Jiang Fucheng's children, and he dare not take action easily. Demon spirit, what a magical creature. Just discussing the issue of demon spirit, everyone can discuss it for an hour without getting tired of it, and no one pays attention to Jiang Ran's arrogance like no one else. After about 10 minutes, Jiang Nancheng and Jiang Xiaowen had almost finished eating, and the servants withdrew the food. Coincidentally, Butler Li Fusheng appeared and suddenly broke the quiet and excessive situation. I saw Butler Li with a serious and angry expression, entering the hall with an elderly man with white beard and several young people. The old man with white beard is Dr. Wang, and the other young people are Dr. Wang's disciples. Dr. Wang's face was full of anger. As soon as he entered the hall, he stared at Jiang Yuan tightly, gritting his teeth and hating him to the bone. He was so angry that his face turned red with blood, and his veins burst as he roared, "Dog egg! You are such a heartless and ruthless thing." Seeing that Butler Li had completed his task perfectly, Jiang Ran glanced sideways and gestured for Xiangcao to take Jiang Nancheng and Jiang Xiaowen away, go back to the room. Both of them were smart children and felt something was wrong, so they obediently went back. Jiang Yuan suddenly felt a bit uneasy, his face changed dramatically, and he stared at Jiang Ran intently. Jiang Ran smiled arrogantly. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Kill the rooster as a warning to the monkey. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Kill the rooster as a warning to the monkey. This smile was like the devil's desperate attempt, and Jiang Yuan's body began to tremble uncontrollably. Jiang Ran mocked, "This Jiang Yuan is really as timid as a mouse." However, in order to make Jiang Yuan mention his immense courage, she had to add a touch of fire. Qi was lifted up inside the body, causing chaos and chaos. Then, with a frown, he suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. It was this mouthful of blood that made Jiang Yuan decide to take a desperate gamble, intending to kill Jiang Ran and seize the demon spirit. Jiang Yuanlao's face instantly became worried, showing concern as he quickly walked towards him, muttering. "Niece, what's wrong with you? You vomited a big mouthful of blood. I heard that you went to find the ice demon wolf alone. It was a demon beast in the early stage of the refining realm. If anything unexpected happens to you, big brother, under the influence of the yellow spring. But you will be sad." His pace of speech became faster and faster, and his footsteps became faster and faster. As he approached Jiang Ran's last 1 or 2 meters, Jiang Yuan turned from walking directly to charging fiercely towards her. Jiang Yuan pulled a knife in his hand at some point and stabbed towards Jiang Ran's inner organs. How kind he was to Jiang Ran in the previous second, and how ugly and ferocious his face was in the next second. "Be careful." Someone saw the knife in Jiang Yuan's hand and shouted. However, the imagined thing did not happen. Pop! Jiang Ran's hand started and fell, blocking the knife that Jiang Yuan had stabbed. Then, she swung an ear scraper with such force that Jiang Yuan's 7 orifices were instantly bleeding. Jiang Yuan's face was full of fear. At this point, of course, he knew he had been tricked. The initial cultivation of the 9 peaks of Kaimai and the 5 realms of gathering spirit was like a heavenly pit. Didn't Jiang Yuan think about directly attacking Jiang Ran before? He thought about it. "I dream of directly killing Jiang Ran and sitting on the throne of the Lord of Suling Town myself." He thought he was doing things perfectly, first poisoning and killing Jiang Ran, and then designing a trap to kill Jiang Fucheng, but he didn't expect this lowly girl to have such a hard life. Jiang Ran bent down and smiled. However, in Jiang Yuan's eyes, she was just a devil teasing him. "I'm just joking with you." Looking at Jiang Yuan was like looking at a dead dog. Jiang Ran chuckled lightly, but there was no smile in her eyes, only cold blood. "What's going on here, Shaoran, and Mr. Jiang Yuan?" A middle-aged man in his 40s stood up with fierce eyes, looking at Jiang Yuan with a murderous aura in his eyes. He followed Jiang Ran's father a long time ago and conquered the land of Suling Town, which can be said to have contributed to his sweat and blood. Although Suling Town is small, it has the basic configuration of a piece of territory, especially the army defending the homeland. He is a commander of Suling Town, named Tianjing, who controls this patrol team and holds a position second only to the lord in the tribe. However, when the old lord suddenly left, Jiang Ran, who had fallen from the sky, only had the title of lord in vain. Jiang Ran understood in her heart that if Tianjing had a ghost in her heart this time, she would already be the commander of the bear pole. Jiang Ran smiled slightly and said, "Tian Tongling, you should have seen very clearly. Jiang Yuan assassinated our lord and wanted to seize the demon spirit." Speaking, he fiercely captured Jiang Yuan with his right hand tightly gripping the dagger. In front of everyone's eyes, all conspiracies had nowhere to hide. Tianjing's eyebrows furrowed fiercely, and his eyes completely turned cold. On this side, Jiang Yuan panicked and even tried to argue, "No, right. I just wanted to test my niece's vigilance." What a pale explanation. Jiang Yuan, who looked like a lost dog, explained in panic while grabbing Jiang Ran's white skirt and saying, "Cough cough, niece, big niece, how could you think of me like that?" The flawless white skirt was stained with disgusting and dirty red fingerprints, and Jiang Ran frowned. Looking at Jiang Yuan, who was disheveled and weak, Jiang Ran lost patience and kicked him over. This kick is really fierce, it directly embedded the person on the wall and slowly fell down. "Aren't you quite brave? You poisoned me, designed to make my father killed by Warcraft, and even kidnapped Dr. Wang. At this time, you will only kneel down and argue." The crowd in the hall suddenly erupted in excitement. What they couldn't believe was not that Jiang Yuan had such a wolf-like ambition, but that in their eyes, the wise and powerful lord would be killed by such a coward. Just now, Jiang Yuan suddenly stabbed Jiang Ran, which startled Dr. Wang and interrupted his words. At this moment, Jiang Yuan was under control, and Dr. Wang finally couldn't help but curse. "You're such a jerk. The old lord has great kindness towards you, but in the end, you even wanted to take action against the old lord's children. It's really better than a beast." Tianjing and others looked at Jiang Yuan, who was vomiting blood incessantly. Coupled with Jiang Yuan's previous actions, even if they didn't want to believe it, they had to accept this fact. Tian couldn't accept it the most. The wise Lord Jiang, who had always been wise, would have died under the calculation of his own people and the incompetent Jiang Yuan. Jiang Fucheng was only in his 40s. Originally, Suling Town could have a very promising future. Tianjing's greatest ambition is to follow powerful people to kill warcraft and expand territory. However, Jiang Fucheng temporarily stopped his campaign against warcraft due to his wife and children. Just saying that he needed to accumulate more years, improve his cultivation, and then cultivate the highly talented Jiang Ran. Tian listened and waited. Tian wished he could draw his sword to kill this traitor. But someone took the heavy sword he had pinned to his waist first. As the dusk grew darker, a chill suddenly arose. Jiang Ran's figure was like a ghost, and she casually drew Tianjing's heavy sword from his waist, walking towards Jiang Yuan with murderous steps. Jiang Ran dragged her heavy sword, the pitch-black sword making palpitations and scratches on the ground. The people present seemed to have their heart sounds out of sync with this piercing scratch. As if the screen had been slowed down, everyone's eyes widened in surprise. Jiang Yuan's tears streamed down his face, mixed with blood. He was disheveled and unkempt like a pitiful insect, constantly kowtowing his head. "I still want to say some begging words." Jiang Ran's mouth was tense and straight, like a sword in her hand. She remained silent, her footsteps neither fast nor slow, only making heart-stopping noises on the floor. The king never shows fear. With the sword in hand, Jiang Ran chopped off Jiang Yuan's head in the most decisive posture. The bloody head rolled and made a gurgling sound on the floor, finally stopping at Jiang Ran's feet. Jiang Ran glanced, withdrew her sword, and turned to leave. The people present were all hoarse and shocked. "This is..." Although it's not personal, Jiang Ran has been calling her uncle for 15 years. No one would have imagined that a girl in her teens could be so ruthless and domineering, cold-blooded and straightforward. But the people gathered in the hall were not ordinary people, except for some servants of the Jiang mansion. They were all the backbone of Suling Town. They don't think there's anything wrong with Jiang Ran waving his knife at Jiang Yuan. Instead, I feel like it. This is the tyranny that a king should possess. The former lord is good everywhere, but he has a bit of kindness and innocence that he shouldn't have. The situation was somewhat unexpected to everyone. Jiang Fucheng was considered the prince of Shangren, and it was thought that his children also inherited his kindness. But Jiang Ran went the other way. Although the benevolent have their charm, it must be said that in this era, the strong are respected. Jiang Ran hesitated and did not cry, nor did she look incredulous and ask Jiang Yuan why he did such a thing. But he simply killed Jiang Yuan. The whole room was silent, unable to respond. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Arrangements. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Arrangements. Jiang Ran is gambling. She knew that her lord's position was unstable, as evidenced by the low loyalty value given by the system. So in order to deepen his impression in the hearts of these people, Butlerly specifically summoned these people over. Actually, there is no contradiction, and Jiang Ran will also create some contradictions. The saying goes that a new official takes office with 3 fires. She killed Jiang Yuan directly to let them know. Although Jiang Ran is young, she is not naive and not easy to provoke. Those who have ideas in their hearts have no ideas, so be honest with me. It seems that the goal has been achieved. Everyone is in shock. Very good, Jiang Ran was also shocked. She didn't know she was so good at pretending. But after pretending to be forced, the momentum is a bit strong. She has also reached the critical point. Everyone was unaware that Jiang Ran's hand holding the sword was trembling slightly and imperceptibly. Blood covered her eyes, a fishy smell filled her nose, her throat kept rolling, and she couldn't help but feel the urge to vomit, but she had to hold back. This is her first time killing someone, or was it a cruel decapitation? Jiang Ran kept hinting at herself. Starting from today, she will be the master of Suling town. How can Wang be weak? How can weakness support her to survive in this world? Even if cruel, even if her legs and hands are trembling, even if she is actually very scared, she still needs to maintain the demeanor of a king. Take a deep breath and resist the trembling impulse. Jiang Ran not only did not show any fear, but also showed a calm smile, appearing effortless. With his dark eyes fixed on Tianjing, his chin slightly raised, showing a hint of arrogance. Tian Tongling, you're really a good sword, he said on one side, slowly sending the sword back to Tian. It was pinned in the scabbard around his waist. Silent for a moment, the air was filled with a mysterious atmosphere. Tian's body was a bit stiff and his mind was a bit chaotic. Of course, Jiang Ran's seemingly arrogant attitude does not make him feel angry or inappropriate. However, he was somewhat surprised. Is this decisive person still the cold, arrogant, and ignorant young lord? Also, he was so easily taken away with his sword. What a shame for a warrior. Go back and exercise well, starting with 10,000 sword swings. Jiang Ran panted softly to herself, her heart beating extremely fast. This time, gathering the backbone of Suling town is not only to help the original owner seek revenge and scare the monkeys, but also to establish credibility. First, protect the hearts of the residents in Lingzhen, arrange some tasks that should be instructed, and then punish those servants who have not completed their job duties. Jiang Ran turned around and sat in the upper seat of the hall, slowly lifting her eyes with an indescribable pressure. She said to the people in the hall, "This time, we are gathering you here to discuss important matters with all the adults, and Jiang Yuan's matter is one of them. My father passed away, and everyone's hearts are still uneasy. But if someone dies like a candle, my father's spirit will protect Suling town, and I." After a pause, Jiang Ranfei quickly scanned the reactions of the people below. When it comes to the death of the original owner's father, except for a few Jiang Ran who noticed a hint of guilt on the faces of those who were closer to Jiang Yuan, everyone else's expressions were filled with deep pain. There is another very important matter. Jiang Ran gently shook the blood-stained hem of her skirt, and this casual movement carried a hint of elegance and dominance. Jiang Ran's expression became much more solemn. As you all know, my late father was severely injured and passed away while fighting against the ice demon wolf. The ice demon wolf was also seriously injured at that time, and the wolf is the most vengeful animal. If the ice demon wolf were to heal his wounds, he would surely follow the scent and seek revenge in Suling town. Jiang Ran said this, and everyone's faces quickly dyed with fear. Someone exclaimed in surprise, "The ice demon wolf is a demon beast in the realm of spiritual cultivation. If the ice demon wolf really kills Suling town, the old lord is no longer here, how will we fight?" The speaker was Lin Sha, a civil servant from Suling town, who was one of the few people in Suling town who could read and read. The people present are not fools, they all know the stakes involved. Commander Tian hates this ice demon wolf very much. It was this beast that caused the old man to die. "Xiao Ran, Lord, what do you think we should do?" said the shortcut. Jiang Ran's eyes flashed with a murderous aura. "Naturally, we cannot sit idly by. Not only can we not sit idly by, but we must also take the initiative to attack. If you defeat the ice demon wolf, not only can you solve a hidden danger, but you may also get new spirit insects. After all, the purpose of the original owner's father's campaign against the ice demon wolf was that the ice demon wolf held a spirit worm in his hand." Someone's mouth slightly swelled, wanting to refute Jiang Ran's idea. After all, a demon beast in the refining realm, how can it fight against Su Ling Town with its current strength? But as Jiang Ran said, if we sit idly by, the outcome may be better than taking the initiative. Tian Tongling, I now order you to gather all the cultivators in the gathering spirit realm of Su Ling Town and replace them with the most advanced equipment in the town. Jiang Mansion still has about 10 revitalization pills, and Manager Li will take them to the warehouse. Tian Tongling will distribute 10 pills, and tomorrow morning, I will see the best cultivator army in Su Ling Town. Jiang Ran said, taking out a key from her sleeve and throwing it to Li Fusheng. Li Fusheng hurriedly caught it, with some sweat on his head. That is the small warehouse of Jiang Mansion, where some precious pills and weapons are stored. Although Jiang Ran didn't feel anything precious about the things inside. After all, Su Ling Town is too small and poor. The revitalization pills with some spiritual power supplementing effects are just the lowest level pills, and Su Ling Town only has about 10 of these low-level pills. Su Ling Town was conquered by the original owner's father over a decade ago. Although the population of Su Ling Town is not many and only 20,000 people, most of them are young adults and cultivators who can survive the war. At present, there are about 200 cultivators in Su Ling Town, but there are only about 10 in the gathering spirit realm. Jiang Ran had thought about gathering all the cultivators, but the war between the cultivators with low cultivation and the demon beasts in the alchemy realm was not effective and could even hinder their progress. Money really stands out. Qian Zhen is a young man in his 20s, a cultivator at the peak of his pulse-opening state. Seeing the newly appointed lord calling him, he didn't rush to marvel at why his cultivation was no longer higher and he could follow the new lord to hunt down monsters. Upon hearing this, he quickly stepped forward. Money is really there. Jiang Randao said, you lead the remaining cultivators to patrol the edge of Su Ling Town. During the 3 days we go out to hunt the ice demon wolf, no one outside is allowed to enter Su Ling Town, and the residents of Su Ling Town are also prohibited from going out. If there are any violators, they will be killed without mercy. Qian Zhen's mind was accidentally clever. I don't know what Jiang Ran meant, but his biggest advantage is being obedient. Seeing that the new lord had even arranged tasks for him, he felt that he had been valued, so he happily took the order. Jiang Ran was already very tired of arranging these two things. This fatigue was mental, and the smell of blood was still coming from her body. Jiang Ran felt that she had reached the critical point of collapse. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Rewards. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Rewards. Although Jiang Yuan's remnants have not been dealt with yet, they are actually just a group of mobs. A few ordinary people couldn't make any big waves, and even after dealing with Jiang Yuan, they probably wished to minimize their sense of existence. When the time comes, let Li Fusheng watch carefully. It's also in time for her to handle the matter of the ice demon wolf and the mailing bug. So, Jiang Ran dispersed these 100 people and left the hall first. At the moment her legs stepped out of the hall, several messages suddenly popped up in her mind. You have seen through Jiang Yuan's wolf-like ambition. You have eliminated the murderer of your father and the traitor of Su Ling Town, and solved the crisis of your territory. Reward. Divine Ability. Purple Jade Magic Eyes, Growth Divine Ability. You defeated and killed a warrior with the 9 peaks of pulse opening alone, and the reward was a prefecture-level spiritual weapon. Frost Sword. Your courage makes people tremble, the loyalty of the leader +10, and the reputation value +1000. Jiang Ran's eyes suddenly showed a hint of warmth, as if something had changed, causing her footsteps to pause for a moment. However, she quickly realized and returned to the room as if nothing had happened. After closing the door and confirming that no one was bothering me, I didn't even rush to change my clothes and checked what my small torn panel had given me. Opening my own panel, the first thing I noticed was that the self-triggering taskbar suddenly appeared and completed the task, inside which lay the 3 notifications that had just popped up by the system. And she flipped her left hand, holding a sword that was as ice blue as frost. A prefecture-level spirit sword. Jiang Ran's eyes were complicated. Unexpectedly, the system she had a little dislike for was so awesome. Although a prefecture-level spirit sword is not a particularly rare thing, after all, magical tools are divided into 5 levels. Mortal, earthly, heavenly, sacred, and divine. According to the system evaluation, the frost sword given to Jiang Ran is only a prefecture-level inferior magical tool. But at least, Su Ling Town doesn't have a prefecture-level spirit sword yet. She just used Tian Tongling's sword, which was just an ordinary level sword. And she just defeated an opponent whose strength was far inferior to hers. The system rewards her magic pupils, which seem more extraordinary than the frost sword. Jiang Ran looked into the mirror, and deep in her originally dark eyes, there seemed to be a faint purple light. A mysterious aura came, as if it had the power to bewitch and see through the mystery. Jiang Ran's personal panel has undergone some changes due to these 3 rewards. Firstly, there is an additional purple jade magic pupil in the divine power column, an ice frost sword in possession, and a reputation value that has been consumed by oneself that has returned to 1255. The purple jade demon eye has the power to see through the veins of spiritual power. The purple jade demon eye and the frost sword undoubtedly boosted Jiang Ran's strength, and tomorrow she will have some more confidence in dealing with the ice demon wolf. There were too many events that happened today, especially the surprise the system gave her, and even the vomiting sensation caused by the blade of Jiang Yuan dissipated. Jiang Ran put away the frost sword and called the maid, intending to digest it well after bathing. The temperature of the bath water was just right, and indeed, the servants of the Jiang mansion had relaxed their work a lot due to the death of the former lord. The scene she staged before made everyone have to cheer up for fear of losing their heads. Now they can focus and do their job well. Jiang Ran is a modern person, but she doesn't have the idea of promoting equality for all in this world. She understands very well that this is an era of the jungle, where everyone has their own destiny. No one will appreciate you for doing that. After all, without such a job as a servant, these people are equivalent to losing their dependence on life. As a lord, all she can do is to enhance her strength as much as possible and let these people survive well under her wings. As for equality for all, we have to wait for Su Ling Town. Maybe it will already be Su Ling country by then. When the economy develops, slavery will naturally disappear. Just so many people are counting on her to live. To be honest, Jiang Ran is very stressful. Jiang Ran had not yet fully enjoyed her bathing time, and after feeling the dirt on her body washed away, she returned to the bedroom and took out the book she had exchanged from the system. The life history of a demon worm. Jiang Ran carefully looked at this biography, not giving up any details. End of this chapter.